Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome on. Hello, hello. I hope you guys are having a great Saturday. Welcome, everybody, on Mother's Day weekend. My name is Scott Buckholz. I am your host for this property tour. We do these every Saturday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern. I also have Yaz Hakan, our co-host. Guys, these Saturday property tours are a great platform to get to share from our team of investors, as we're a national community of investors who work together, we collaborate, we do deals together, we learn together, and we play together. And a lot of us are really, really good friends through the community across the country. We've got folks on today from all over the United States. Our featured investors we're going to bring out here in just a second. Again, my name is Scott Buckholz. I am a full-time investor. I've been a part of this great community of investors for 6.5 years now. Absolutely so blessed and so grateful that I found this community and someone introduced me. You might be on today as a guest and checking out this property tour, maybe checking out the community. You guys are in store for a great property tour today. So again, guys, we're going to get started here. I'd love to bring out Kevin. Kevin, you want to come on out, share your screen?
Hey, good morning, Scott. Thank you so much for having me here. And
that's fantastic. I'm so glad you're here.
Yeah, it's great. And thanks for having me back too. We've done a couple of these for you and your community, and we're just excited to be part of it. And Scott, we have a third investor that can't be with us today. So it is Judy and myself. Our other partner is actually doing training for he's a leader in our community, does training on the wholesale side, and he has a standing appointment every Saturday morning to do training and be a leader. So I have the privilege of being with Judy today. And this is a deal that Judy and I've worked on with Brandon. You saw a picture of him earlier. And so we'll just kind of break down our story, and let me get my screen going here. And good morning,
Kevin.
Judy.
I'm sure Kevin and Judy, you guys are going to tell everybody a little bit about yourself. There'll be a lot of new folks on today that don't know who you guys are. Tell a little bit about your story, about, where you come from, what you've done in the past, how you found our community of investors, and why real estate investing. What triggered, what was the driving force that, kind of led you toward real estate investing. So go ahead, Kevin. Go ahead, Judy.
Judy, I'm going to defer to you. I say my dad always taught me ladies first. So, Judy, come on out and share about yourself. Yeah.
Yes, of course, gladly. So I'll keep it short. My name is Judy Freed. I'm from California, from the Bay Area, and I love real estate investing. I found this community, I think about 4.5 years ago. We had a smaller group out in San Jose, and then at one point, because the pandemic hit, we had the great fortune of joining the Alliance community, which afforded us with a lot more community members. I'm a full-time real estate investor. However, before that, I was a marketing professional, an engineer by profession, but I love real estate. And what lit the real estate bug was early in the day when I was reading the books that I'm sure everybody read, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, but at the time I didn't think it was applying to me. So now I found this community, and yes, it does apply to me as well, and to you. Thank you, Kevin. All yours.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And, I had the privilege of meeting Judy through this deal and through our community. She's in California. I'm in Arizona, in Phoenix. And Scott, my story well, but I'll share it with everyone. I'll keep it kind of short. There's a lot of pieces to it. So my dad and my mom at 65 years old back in 2008, they went through a financial collapse when the real estate market blew up around the country. And that's when he found this community nationally and came to me and said, son, I found these amazing people, group of people teach you invest in real estate. And I said, Dad, at 65, maybe some things are going on with your brain. Didn't you understand? Don't you see? The world just blew up, right? I mean, it's a bad spot. So anyways, he said, don't worry about it. This is different these people are real, they're genuine, they're authentic, they're from all walks of life, they're regular people, and they're having real estate success. So he and my mom moved on with that. I was in the insurance industry. I was selling health insurance, life insurance, ancillary products. And I kind of, watch them out of the corner of my eye. What's my dad doing? What's mom doing? Are they okay financially? And I'll tell you, they were just crushing it, investing in real estate. Like the thing we talked about in our family was actually happening. How do you be successful in real estate investing? So after a couple of years watching, I said, all right, what are you doing? My dad's really, I'm a little competitive. So I'm like, yeah, my dad's doing better than me, right? What's going on here? So, I said, let me look at this again with a different set of eyes. And that was several years ago. And my wife and I jumped in full time, and, we just haven't looked back, Scott. And you say we're a national community, and we are, and you'll maybe hear Judy and I say the word alliance or alliance masterminds, because we're kind of a subgroup of the national community. So we have investors around the country, and but we kind of formed a little subgroup like you have here with Yaz and your community. But the truth of the matter is, we're all on the same page in terms of real estate investing, creating goals, creating success, and creating a very cooperative environment. And that's the one thing that's made a big difference for me, is that seeing this community is a community of people who are excited about your success. So in other words, I could bring a deal to our community, ask for insight, ask for help, questions, without fear of, oh my gosh, someone's going to steal my deal, right? Or they're going to undercut me, or they're going to try to get the most out of it they can. So that creates an environment of growth, opportunity, an abundance mentality. And I got burned out selling insurance, and I needed something more sustainable long-term for my family and for my legacy. So, jumped into real estate investing, learning a ton. I've learned a lot, still have more to learn. And I'm just excited and blessed to be part of the community.
Well, Kevin and Judy, those are great stories. And I'm so glad you shared that, because, today we have people on, like I said early, they're all from all over the country. If you looked in the chat room, from East Coast to West Coast, from up north in Minnesota, Chicago, all the way down to down south. And folks, that are logging in today, we have a mix of people. We've got people that are already a part of our community, like myself and you and Judy and Yaz. But then we also have folks that are new, that are kind of checking it out. Maybe they've done a deal or two. Maybe they got some rental properties, or maybe they're just wanting to get started and they don't know where to get started, and they don't know how to get started. And they have, like I did when I first started, Kevin, and I think most people today who are investors would look back and say, when they first got started, they had limiting beliefs, and I had limiting beliefs. And I didn't understand when I heard people talking about using other people's money, and that I could do real estate without credit and without my own funds. I was like, I know that happens. I've read the books. I know it happens, but I have no idea how it happens. So I had a lot of limiting beliefs. And so this community helps shape and form. And I wouldn't be where I'm at today, and I wouldn't have done the deals I've done and grown the business like I have without this community. And so thank you for sharing. I know your stories resonated with people. And, Kevin, you talked when we first got kicked off, you've been on this property tour, this Zoom property tour before, where we featured short-term rentals. I know you and Corey have got a business going on as part of the community, but you guys have connected together and you're doing short-term rentals. And so, there's so many different strategies in real estate investing, and you don't have to just do one. It's what's so great about our community and about our education, Kevin, and you can speak to this for a little bit, and then we'll get into your deal, is that the education and the knowledge that I'm learning is the same education and knowledge that you're learning, that Judy's learning, and that other community members are learning. And we have access and the ability to do multiple strategies. So we can, depending on the environment and the culture and the way that real estate investing is going, the economics of it, we can shift and we can leverage our knowledge in our community to move to where the deal makes sense. So could you talk a little bit about that?
Well, yeah, absolutely. And then I like to have Judy make a comment if she would like after me. And so what you're saying here, Scott, is what my ears heard was this. People say, oh, well, you're making money in real estate because the market is strong or it's a hot market. And when I hear people say that, I think, yeah, that's an indication that person doesn't understand what real estate investing is. Because when we learn the principles and the strategies as a proficient real estate investor, we're not earning money based on the market's hot or doing good. We understand how to read the market. We understand the strategies to implement based on where the market is. So that allows us to shift and adjust. Now, when I'm learning these strategies in the same way Judy's learning them, when we come together, we can collaborate, and there's a baseline of understanding and trust with one another. And so we work together hand in hand, and it's invaluable. And even in that, we have the autonomy to determine what we want to get involved in, right? Not every deal is for everyone. And we have the freedom in the community to say, hey, would you like to get involved in this? That's not for me right now, no problem. I understand, the deal, and I can assess it on my own. So I'm not dependent upon just the people I'm working with, like the cross your fingers strategy. Hopefully this works. You can decide because you've learned it yourself. And that just really empowers the person. So yeah, we want to understand the market so we know how to leverage it and make it work no matter where the market's at, up or down or sideways. And then we want to be educated enough so we can power ourselves and then work together with others.
Judy, I would love to hear from Judy.
Yeah, thank you, Scott, and thank you, Kevin. Absolutely. When I hear people say, oh, I can learn something on YouTube or I can read a blog, I feel a little bit of a of a crunch, because a lot of times people will not understand how much there is to know about real estate, the nuances about it, and how far can you go when you have the right knowledge. And like you said, doing deals with other people's money, I couldn't fathom that. Even though I'm the person that is providing the funds for this deal, it doesn't matter, because I know how to get other funds from other people the same way. And also I can be responsible with their funds and with my funds, because I have the education and I know what I'm doing. And if I don't know what I'm doing, I can go back and relearn that section and find other people within the community that can help me hone in even more. But being educated is the number one important thing, because if you don't know what you're doing, you can do great, but you can do very poorly, and that's not a good idea.
So well said, Judy. So well said. So today, we got a lot of folks on, and very excited to hear about your deal and your manufactured home. That's something that most people have heard, that phrase. I don't know if most people understand what a manufactured home really is. I think sometimes when people think of manufactured homes, they actually think of like a lower grade or a lesser product. So why manufactured homes? I mean, what a huge difference from short-term rentals to a manufactured home. So talk about that, guys. How did you even come up with this? How did you decide, let's do this? I mean, go for it.
Yeah, that's a great question. Before I answer it, I just want to invite and maybe even challenge, if you have your camera off, turn your camera on. We'd love to see your smiling face. We don't care if you got laundry on the bed or dishes in the sink. It doesn't matter. It just kind of helps us connect more with the people in here that are joining us. There's Bobby. I saw him pop up. That's good. Yeah, guys, glad to see your face. And James is there. And if you're in your car driving or walking around, doesn't matter. We just want you to be part of this. So, Scott, as far as the manufactured home, that's an interesting thing. So here in Arizona, we know it's a big retirement state, and there's a lot of 55 plus communities that are manufactured home communities, right? And then we have a lot of rural areas here in Arizona as well. So there's pockets of manufactured homes. I think that most people may connect it with a trailer. They may say it's a trailer or a mobile home, right? So in order to kind of help shift that stigma, the word manufactured home is used more often, right? And I will say this though, here in 2022, yeah, that's what year we're in, 2022. The manufactured home dealers, especially here in the Southwest, boy, they have really upped their game on these houses, right? They are manufacturing houses at a higher quality level, providing more features for homeowners in there as well. So I was introduced to this kind of niche market before this property deal that we're doing. And I took a double wide manufactured home and I had affixed it to an empty residential lot in Mesa. Now, I didn't know this was a thing, but if a certain subdivision is zoned for manufactured home, if there's an empty lot, regular residential size lot, it was 7,000 square foot. And as long as it's zoned properly, you could put a manufactured home on. And I thought, so I don't have to pay contractors to build the house. I don't have to go through a ton of permitting. I can already take a built house and put it on a lot. I said, let's try that and see if we can make some money. And I did, and it worked, right? So I'm like, wow, that was great. So our other partner who couldn't be here today, Brandon, he called me up and is a friend of mine. He goes, hey man, you doing that manufactured home thing? I said, yeah, I've done that. He said, well, I know of an empty lot in a certain spot in Mesa, and it's not a park. It's a mobile home community, manufactured home community. And I'll explain the difference in a minute. And he said, I've got the lot and I can get a lender to buy the lot. And if you can get a house and you know how to run that kind of project, let's work together on it. I'm like, yeah, I'd love to do that. So we looked at all the numbers and we decided, yeah, let's go ahead and move forward with it. And the reason this is different is because in a manufactured home, like a mobile home park, what happens is the residents can own the house, but they're paying rent on their space in the manufactured home park, right? So like my parents, for an example, they live in kind of an upscale 55 plus community. It's got a golf course in the middle of it, but it's all manufactured homes and they're all brand new. So you have different varying degrees of mobile home parks, but you're just renting that spot. When you move to a subdivision, it's like houses. So the person who lives there owns that piece of dirt. You know, they own that 7,000 square foot lot. They're paying taxes on it. And when you affix the manufactured home to that residential lot, then it becomes real estate. And then from there, you start to see value on that property increase. Okay, so those are the two differences. And so Brandon had a relationship with Judy. I hadn't met Judy yet. And he says, I want you to meet her. She's a great lady. And she would love to go ahead and be an equity partner in our deal. So she went ahead and with her financial resources, we created a joint venture agreement. It's an important thing. That's a document that legally lines out everyone's role in the deal. And what I love about, Scott, the JV agreements and documents, I always say is they help me with my faulty memory, because everyone forgets what they said that they would do. That's why contracts are critical to protecting relationships, right? So we had a joint venture agreement, and Judy invested into the project as our financial partner. She took an equity position, meaning when we sell the project, she's going to receive her third of the profits. And then Brandon kind of put the deal together, orchestrated it, found the lot, put me and Judy in a room. I've had experience doing this in the past. So I had a relationship with a dealership with the manufactured home here in the Valley. And I put that together and I served as a project manager and just walked it through from beginning to end. And then we sold it.
Wow, that is amazing. Absolutely amazing. And thank you for giving a little more definition and being able to separate difference in mobile home, a manufactured home, and a residential property. So you're in a community, Mesa, Arizona has, how many percentage did you say? 55% or was it higher
Well,
of
no,
the?
I don't know the percentage.
Okay,
There's different pockets. You got 55 plus retirement communities, but then you have communities of just manufactured homes in different pockets. Mhm.
absolutely, absolutely. And so I know this is a strategy that's very common and very well used down in the Southwest. And I know it's also used over where I'm at in Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky. There are some manufactured home parks, subdivisions, or residential living areas that are manufactured homes. So I know it's a strategy that's used all over the country. And
Yeah.
I love the points you talked about because I've done as a full-time investor, I've done flips, I've done buy and holds, I've done fix and holds, I've done new construction where I've literally developed the land and built new homes. I've bought properties before where I've demoed the old house, kept the old foundation, built a new house on the old foundation. I've done multi-units, but I've never done a manufactured home. But I am used to working with all the different levels of contractors and, how important it is as a project manager, like you said earlier, there's certain people that have to be there when they got to be there. They hold everybody up. And so there's a lot of advantages with a manufactured home. And I know you got some cool pictures to show us here in a little bit,
Yeah.
but that is an exciting strategy for everybody that's on today, to understand that, you still have lights, you still have plumbing, you still have, HVAC, air conditioning for whatever it is, but the way where the product is delivered, maybe talk a little bit about that, how the product is delivered and basically, installed on site.
Yeah, that's a real and I'll show the pictures whenever you're ready. And yeah, that's
We're ready.
Oh, we're ready. Okay, so let's do this. I'm going to kind of talk through it. And when we went to Judy with this, Judy was like, "Okay, manufactured homes. I've seen them. I know what they are." Judy, you're kind of like, "This is an interesting process, weren't you?"
Yes, yes. Thanks, Kevin. And Scott, to your point, yes, I didn't do any deals with manufactured homes before. And one of the reasons I wanted to be an equity partner rather than a money lender on this deal was because I wanted to learn about manufactured homes and I wanted to learn the process because I knew it was different, but I just didn't know what or how different it was. So it was important for me to be part of the process, and Kevin and Brandon kept me in the loop continuously. Obviously, I wasn't there, so I couldn't do the work, but I learned so much through the process that it was, an eye opener for me. And I've done that, so probably others do. I thought less of manufactured homes, but that's a great strategy. I mean, we have people in our community that are doing only manufactured home flipping, and they do really well. So thanks, Kevin.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And Judy was able to come visit a couple of times from California here to Arizona. So she was able to see the project. We got some pictures. It was great. But here's a couple things to understand too. And this is where the pandemic came into a major impact. Because as we all know around the country, property values are moving up. And there's a lot of conversation about fear of, are we in another bubble? Are things going to crash? But here out in Arizona and in Utah as well, and people are flooding into these states from California and the Pacific Northwest. So what that's doing is it's driving up the real legitimate demand for housing. So once that demand goes up, so we see values go up as well, right? So this piece of land right here, if you can see over here to your left, you've got a little single wide manufactured home here, and over to your right, it's what I call the Sanford and Son, if you're familiar with that. So that's kind of like that guy has got all kinds of crazy junk over there. And you look at this little piece of land and you go, okay, how do you make money on that? Well, just keep in mind in the back of your head, as I explain this, property values, especially in Arizona, are just being driven up because there's not enough listings, there's not enough housing. So we bought this land back in into June, 1st of July of last year. Judy and our other partner, Brandon, they were able to put all of this together to purchase the land. So this is what we've got to work with, a blank canvas, right? This piece of property we purchased for $70,000. So now it's just basic, simple math, Scott, but it's the evaluation process that we learn in our platform, right? Well, what's the value of the properties in the area? What's it going to cost for the land? What's going to cost for the house? What's it going to cost to install it? So we have to put our evaluation together, run all our numbers. What could we sell it for? And can we make a profit? Well, we bought the land and now it's time to go get the house. And my first thought was we're going to get a double wide house and put it on this lot. But as we looked at the size of the lot, as we looked at what's available, because with the demand of housing, manufactured home cost went up 30–40%. It blew my mind. The same double wide that I bought 3 years prior to this, or 2 years prior to this project, that same house, 1,300 square foot house, is now $60,000–$70,000 more. I was like, oh my gosh, did you guys put like gold toilets in there or something? I mean, did you add space to this thing? And the guy goes, nope. I said, that same house is, you know, I bought it for $80,000. It's $140,000. It just blew my mind. Manufactured home dealers are a year to 18 months in back orders of houses, because when the cost of houses went up, the stick-built houses, people ran to manufactured housing because it was a lower cost, but they still had good features, right? And then that demand just blew up the manufactured housing department, or industry. So here we go. I found one, and I'll show you the house we finally got, and we bought it below retail value. But here's our 6,600 square foot lot. And you'll see kind of in the background, there's this pipe sticking up, and that's our septic tank. All right, so we've got a septic tank on there. So this is not city water or sewer. And depending on where the lot is, it could be a city sewer situation where you don't have to deal with the septic tank, but we got to deal with the septic tank. And that was an interesting experience. So, but here it is. And we like this lot, because it's clean. When you look at it at a lot, what I mean by clean is it's pretty level. You can see the fencing is around. Let me go back a little bit. In the very back, these are called oleanders, but there's a cement retaining wall back there. So it's already built. You've got nice fencing on both sides. So on all sides, we've got nice fencing. It's clean. There's not a lot of junk on it. We've got some greenery in the back and along the sides. So this is a good lot. We see our electrical pedestal here. We know we're going to have to upgrade that. And we have Southwest gas pipeline sticking up here. But we know our manufactured house is electric only. So we're going to upgrade this electric pedestal, and we're going to discontinue and turn off that gas because we don't need it. So we had a septic tank already in. It was already past inspection when they bought the lot. But the house we bought required by county code a larger tank. So I was pretty excited because we don't have to mess with the septic tank. That's going to save us a little bit of money. But when we applied for permitting and told them the house that we have, a 2-bedroom, 2-bath house, well, that's more fixtures. So based on county code, we had to upgrade to a 1,000-gallon tank. So we had to discontinue the other one and put a brand new one in. And that's what it looks like. It's not pretty exciting, but that's a key piece to this, because you don't have septic tank, you don't have a house. So that one, we ran into a bit of a challenge. We had a bit of a delay on the septic tank and getting that squared away, but we got it done. And you see our nice new electrical pedestal back there. So we're excited about getting that done. Now, this is a process that we're working on getting permitting, getting the contractors out there. And I'm running the project as a project manager. And it's going along pretty well. We had a couple of setbacks like the septic tank, but this is probably about what do we say, Judy, from beginning to end, from when you purchased it to when we actually collected funds? What was that, 7 months, 8 months?
I think it's more 10 months.
Was it 10?
10.
Okay. Yeah, from the date you bought it. I think that you and Brandon bought the land before I came in and started the deal though, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, okay. So I think from when I came in, it was an 8-month or 7.5, 8-month time frame. So from when we go, okay, here's the land, let's pull the permits, let's get going, to where we actually collected funds from my involvement was about 8 months, right? And that's about right. You're building a house. If you look at it from that standpoint, it's about right. So what they're doing here is they're building the pad that the manufactured home sits on. They just simply have to build it up to a certain grade level. So that way drainage, when it rains, they've got the slopes all taken care of there. Hey, there we are. There's Judy and her husband, Offer. And there's our partner, Brandon, one of the site visits that we did. Now, this is our blueprint for a manufactured home. We looked at potentially getting a double wide, as I'd mentioned earlier, but as we were looking at the cost of the land, the cost of the double wides, what we think we could sell it for, the cost to run the whole project, what Clayton had available, see, all those things factor into it. And we decided on a single wide manufactured home. It's 2 bedrooms, 2 bath, 965 square feet. And actually, at the end of the day, that's better because it gave more room to the homeowner for their yard around the house. If we put a double wide on there, it would have fit, but it'd been super tight. So we think in the end, it really worked out much better. So now we have the house on the lot. This is not affixed yet. And that word is a key word, affixed. This is my nice new concrete driveway. I guess I'm proud of my concrete because I took a picture of it. But that's an important piece, right? So once you have the manufactured home on the lot, you have to have it affixed. And so it has to be installed by a licensed manufacturer or a licensed contractor. And you'll see the skirting around it. They put pillars on here. So I have pillars on the dirt, and then they strap the manufactured home onto the pillars. If you see these four white sticks sticking up out of the ground, now that's our septic tank. And those are markers because the county has to come out and make sure that this house is within a certain distance of the septic tank, right? Those are your setbacks. And I promise you, if you're 6 inches off, they will not pass you to make sure you get your inspection cleared. So all of those things that we deal with during the process. Dun, 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 our brand new upgraded electric pedestal. I remember, like, Judy, look, it gets weird in these things. You send pictures of pedestals to each other. You're like, hey, progress,
And you get excited about them.
You do, you get excited. And here's the trench because we're connecting the utilities to the house. So the installer, now I'm not doing this, by the way. I'm not out there swinging the hammer, digging the ditches. I'm hiring contractors that are licensed. So if anything goes wrong, they're held responsible. But you can see the pillars that the house is sitting on. You see the trench for the electric, the utilities being connected to the house, okay? This is, just the other side. Now, this is the back door. And this one things we liked about this particular house, instead of a standard man door, this is a slider with a little bit of, with the squares on it. So it gives a little bit of a style to the house. Now, this is where we have the house, the skirting on. It's done. It's officially installed. And based on code, we have to have steps to both egresses on the property. So the front door and the back door, we have our steps installed. HUD has requirements through the state of Arizona. So whatever your state requirements are, these have to be a certain size, certain height, certain width, because they have to meet code. You'll learn a lot of this. Concrete driveways looking better. When you see the skirt, gosh, it's like, yes, it's in, feels good, looking sharp. And then we have our fencing that we have upgraded, and you'll see here in a few minutes. Oh, there's Judy, her second visit. She came and we did a walkthrough. It's actually a nice little house. You see the up on the door there, Scott, you've got the little window there. So it's actually a pretty nice house, straight out of the manufacturer's dealership. So there we go. Now we're on on listing. There's our new fencing we put in. We cleaned up all those oleanders in the back. We put just gravel, probably about 2/3 of the way back, just past the driveway, and we put new gravel to the right in the front area and on the back side of the fence as well. So now these trees, by the way, are coming back. A lot of this happened over the winter. So our first pictures were last summer and the trees were full. This is, December, January, February here in Arizona. So they're not growing back yet, but they're on their way. And there's your single wide manufactured home on market, ready to get sold. We've got our gravel here, trimmed up these bushes, and you can see, talk about HVAC right back here where my arrow is. There's an air conditioning unit we put on because these don't come out of the manufacturer of the AC units. They're not required to. So this is an aftermarket addition, but we figured that into the budget so we knew what we could expect. Now, we like to leave our backyards for these types of neighborhoods. We like to leave our backyards open because we want the homeowner to decide what they want to do with their backyard, right? And yeah, looking pretty good all the way around. Looks completely different from when we started. And new home for our homeowners, which we're excited about. They were sisters, by the way, who moved in together and bought the house together. So we like knowing that. Now for manufactured home, man, these are, like I said, the features and the upgrades are much different than, now I'm an old guy, I was gonna say when I was a kid, but I'm old, so it's been a while. But the features are definitely much different. This has a nice farm sink to it. And when you buy a brand new manufactured home, you get brand new appliances in it as well. So the appliance package comes with the house. Nice entertainment center here. The decorative beams across gives it that contemporary feel. There's that farm sink with the upgraded faucet handle. Kitchens and bathrooms, man. Kitchen and bathrooms are big. They sell houses. Very important. So this is the I don't know if you'd call it the master suite or the second bedroom, but this is where the bathroom and walk-in closet in this room. This has double sink lavatory, and then your big bathtub, and then right around we don't have a picture of it, but right around this door is a walk-in shower with glass door. So it's really nice for your manufactured home. Here's the other room at the other end, and then the second bathroom. Everything's brand new, never been touched. No one's lived in it. And big windows, nice light. There's Brandon. I remember that day. We were just buttoning up things and making sure it's all done right. And that's my last picture I got right there.
Well, Kevin, and Judy, that is really cool. What a sleek design. I mean, it's obviously like the flooring in there. Is that like an LVP flooring, or is that a linoleum, or is that
so that's,
flooring did we see in those pictures? Yeah, right there.
Yeah. So that's a linoleum actually. So when these manufactured homes are built, they come straight out of the manufacturer, right? Everything's put together there, and there's a quality, quality code, a quality assurance that the manufacturer has to meet before they can release these. And then once they're out, they have to be installed properly before you get the inspection passed to sell it, right? So the state and the county has to make sure it's installed properly. So it's really a pretty good level of quality you're dealing with. Now, this is just a basic linoleum floor, right? With the look of that dark wood tile, but it's affixed to the subfloor, and it's very durable. You can mop it, clean it, and it's going to give a lot of life, to the homeowner.
Absolutely. So again, for folks that might be watching this today, that somebody might have ran through their mind, because I know I was thinking, is that LVP? Is that engineered hardwood? Is it linoleum? Yeah. With manufactured homes where you're at in this market and the price range, that's very common. What you guys have
Very
done there,
common.
right?
Exactly.
Very common.
Yes.
I
Yep.
think people need to understand that, because somebody might think, well, gosh, I couldn't sell a home in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania with a linoleum floor. Well, again, you got to know your market. You got to know what other manufactured homes are being sold for and what their features are. I'm very familiar with Clayton Homes. Matter of fact, I could walk from my house to a Clayton
Mhm.
Homes retail
Yep.
outlet.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I know they're all over the country because they're right here in Kentucky. So they've got to be a pretty large company, matter of fact.
Well, Clayton Homes is so big, Scott. Berkshire Hathaway bought Clayton Homes back in 2002. Okay. So
I remember that now that you said that. I forgot it
right.
because that's 20 years ago.
Yeah.
You're right. 20 years ago, they got that.
So when Warren Buffett goes, hey, that's probably a good investment, that's an indicator of where you think manufactured homes are going. And let me tell you, manufactured homes, there's a financial crunch that seniors are experiencing, and safe, affordable housing in manufactured homes is a great option, and it is being utilized, especially out here in the Southwest.
It's amazing. It's very cute. It's like I said, it's very sleek.
Yep.
I love the design. I love the built-ins for the entertainment center, the peninsula there for the island with you can put some counter height stools there. I see that. That's really neat. Looks like your HVAC is all your floor, like your returns and supplies. Are they all in the floor?
Yeah, they're all in the floor.
Makes
That's
sense.
how they release them here. Yeah. And that, and
Makes
to
sense.
understand too, as investors, I've worked on projects like, I don't want to say it. Let me put it this way. As an investor, what you do is you look at the numbers. Is this going to be a profitable deal in this area? Because we understand this market. That doesn't mean I'm living in that area, right? I've done houses that have way higher values. I've taken a house that was built in the 50s and I tore it down and we sold it for almost $500,000, right? I mean, we didn't tear it down, but inside we just went down to the studs and rebuilt it. Now, that's not a house I would live in, but it doesn't matter what I'm living in. I'm the investor. I need to know the market, understand the evaluation, get my numbers right, and can it be profitable?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's really good. That's a really good thing to share there. And, guys, I'd love to also mention right now, Kevin, because I know we're going to talk about some numbers here. I would love to make sure everybody that's on today, if you guys are new to the community, maybe you just got started with our National Community Investors, or maybe you're a guest today and you want to learn more about our community, you want to learn more about the education and the knowledge that Kevin and Judy and Brandon have learned, which is just the same knowledge that I have learned as well, and which makes us we're already like-minded, but I love what you said. We're on the same playing field. We're on the same level of knowledge, and it's a very comfortable feeling when you're working with somebody in the community that is learning the same thing you are. But if you want to learn more about all this, right after our national Zoom tour here, starting at right about 5 after the top of the hour, we're going to do, we have on another link, so get back to who invited you, and there at another link, you can actually connect and go through a meeting that'll expand on a lot of the things that Kevin has talked about. It's not about specifically manufactured home. It's just about our community and about investing, about using other people's money, all those things. And so I did want to throw that in, Kevin. I know you've got some numbers to share. It was so funny. I was laughing, and I think I put LOL in the comments when you said you guys got excited about sending pictures of the new electrical column. As for an investor, those things are exciting. When you saw it installed with the skirt on it, you're like, oh my gosh, it's coming so close. You got the concrete for it. I mean, how exciting to most people is a concrete slab? Not too exciting. Or like you had to probably put footers in with piers for this manufactured home to sit on. When those get poured, it's and in the past 10 years, what I'm excited about. A lot of it's still the same, but a lot of it's different today because of being a real estate investor. So I did we had a couple of cool questions here. I know that Judy's answered some of them. Thank you, Judy, for answering some of the folks' questions. Yeah, when Buffett's a big player in this space, Warren Buffett seems to be a big player in a lot of spaces, but I love what you said, Kevin. If anybody's ever followed Warren Buffett's story and his business career, if he gets into something, it's probably a pretty good indicator. And again, like I said, we got a couple questions here. The two sisters who bought the house, two dogs. Oh, that was Judy talking about that. She's talking a little bit about the homeowners. Yeah, it's really fun to learn about your homeowners. I just had a closing yesterday. It was so exciting. I had a townhome. It was the second townhome I sold. I built two of them together. And I had a 23-year-old girl, single girl, buy her first home ever. This is a $450,000 townhome. She's 23 years old. She's the only person, but just the level of excitement when people get to buy a property. And I'm sure these two sisters and their dogs were pretty darn excited about this property. And I'm sure you got to meet them as well.
We were unable to meet them. Kind of froze on me, Scott. So I don't know if I cut you off. I'm sorry, but we weren't able to meet them. We never actually got connected, but we got a letter from their agent, and they were sisters moving in together to be closer in proximity in Mesa to another sister they have who just had a baby, and they're helping the family out. So it was their first time to own a house together. So they were pretty excited. So
very nice. Well, Kevin, you get into the numbers.
Yeah, let's look at the numbers on this.
See what you got going on there.
Yeah, let me find these numbers, Scott. Give me just a second. And then, because these numbers, I'm going to stop sharing just real quick as I hunt for this. Excuse me. These numbers are pretty amazing because it kind of blew my mind. Along with you, let me see. Just trying to find it quickly.
Evan, while you're looking for that, let me add something for our listeners. So one of the things that I learned from the education and from our community is that I can invest out of my retirement account. And I have a solo 401k, which is what we used for this specific property. And this is a great strategy as well. Think about if you're heading into retirement in the next few years, but you're not there yet and you want to increase your holdings, this is one of the things you can do within your retirement account. And let me tell you that a lot of people don't know that, and they're a little bit concerned about doing that, but it's perfectly legal. It's very safe. It's easy to do. And I have the ability to write checks, to send wires, to do everything that I need to do. And, this is what we've done with this. And when the funds came back, it was so great to see the return in my retirement account. I left some of the other funds in my other retirement account, and this was my best decision this year. By far. So, yeah.
Okay, I got it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Kevin, before you go through the numbers, let me ask you this quick question here. Catherine wants to know, what are some of the questions you asked yourself before purchasing this lot? In other words, like what requirements did you have, when Brandon found this lot? What were the things he was looking for, or you would be looking for to put a manufactured home on it? And where did you get all your information to learn about the zoning? Like you talked about key things like setbacks. You talked about capacity of septic tanks. Okay, I'm very familiar with it because of my education and having experience as an investor. But there's a lot of people that don't understand, and they know there's like zoning requirements, and they're known there's rules and regs, and every county across the country is different. How did you guys learn about that? How did you make a decision about the lot?
Those are fantastic questions. So, how do you make the decision about the lot? So, I didn't have the lot was already purchased. So our investor partner Brandon already brought it to me. Okay. Now this, I already had done 2 different deals with manufactured homes. So by the time I got to this, I'd already had a little bit of experience and I knew what to expect because I've been through the process. Right. So here I am looking at this lot. And my first question is it city water or sewer? Or I'm sorry, is it city sewer or septic? That's a number one question, because if it's city sewer, I'm golden. I'm like, great. I don't have to think about a tank. I don't have to worry about, permitting. I don't have to worry about inspections. That's one less thing on my list. It's just easier. No, there's already a septic tank. Okay. Is it approved? Is it inspected? Like, is there a problem? Do we have to replace it? So I went to find out the inspection or about the septic. Well, I found out that was already, I will say approved. It went through inspection and passed. So I've got a septic. I don't have to worry about that. The part about I had to get a bigger septic tank because of county requirements, I didn't know that until I got into the process. So that was a new learning thing for me, right? So septic is number one. Number two, how clean is the lot? What's the fencing around it? Because if fencing is good in there and solid, that's less that I have to worry about. Less money, less time, less contracting, right? What about the ease of accessing being able to access the property? So those are some of the things I've looked at. I'd already been through the county situation as far as inspection in city. And it's just a matter of, this is not, so I got to say this, the evaluation of the property, raising the private funds, selling it, having the right contracts in place to protect Judy and myself, the JV agreement, those types of things is what I'm learning through our community and our education platforms. That's critical to the deal. These particular nuances of the septic tank and county codes, that's the stuff that I'm learning and teaching myself. When I get in touch with the county, they're saying, here's your code book. So then I go through that and I learned how to read a code book because I had to make those decisions on how things are going to go. So that's a little bit of learn as I go, but I already had experience. So I could go a little quicker because I already knew what I was looking for. But primarily what I like to do, Scott, is I like to hire licensed contractors. So I'm not doing the work and I factor that into my budget. So I say, if I'm hiring this and this, because they're the experts, when we sell the project, this is the profit we want. Can we pay for them and still make that profit? That's critical. So on some level, I'm hiring the septic tank contractor. The county says you have to upgrade and get a bigger tank. Okay, great. I'm not digging the hole in the ground. I'm not procuring the tank, right? I'm going to find a contractor. Do you do this? How much is it? And I'll pay you. And then they're responsible to the county to pass code and pass inspection. I'm not. That's their responsibility. And that's why I hired them. So,
and that's a good point, Kevin. I mean, anyone that's on today, as an investor, I know a lot of people, they get started sometimes, Kevin, and they try to do a lot on their own. And they obviously look at costs and they're trying to, really be tight on a budget. But at the end of the day, you've got to work those numbers where you're using licensed contractors who pull permits when necessary, who are accountable. So if they don't do something right, they're accountable and they'll take care of it. Okay.
Right.
And,
yeah. These steps, and like you can see these steps in this picture, those steps have to be installed by a licensed contractor required by the state of Arizona, because the state of Arizona has HUD, housing and urban development requirements. I'm not messing with that. I'm not buying those steps. I'm not going down there to install that. I'm hiring you to do that. So let me.
So Kevin, before we run out of time here, we've only got about 6 minutes. It's been a great topic. I'd love to get to the numbers here.
And I did see a question in there about being a permanent fixture. Once the skirting is on, then I have to go through a process, Department of Motor Vehicles. And what we get the paperwork set. Once the skirting is on, it's strapped to the pillars. We passed state inspection, we've passed county inspection. Then we go through Department of Motor Vehicles and they give us what's called the affidavit of a fixture. At that point, it's considered real estate. And so that house and that property will continue to increase in value. Okay. So I just saw that pop up, Scott, and I wanted to answer that. All right. So
Thank you.
Judy's acquisition cost, we're acquiring the house and the land together. I put it together. We're at 165. Oh, there we go. We sold it for 280. Had my transitions different. Okay, so we sold the house for 280,000. So I just want everyone to get their mind around that. 965 square foot manufactured home, 2-bedroom, 2-bath, brand new house, but still 280,000. Combining the acquisition cost of the house, which we picked up for around 92,000, and the land at around 70 and change. So together we're 165. Our project cost, and that's everything. Hiring the contractors, getting all our permits, septic tank, selling the property, paying for pictures for the listing, escrow fees when we closed, all of that together is at 45,000. And so we walked away at a $70,000 profit on the entire project.
That is amazing. $70,000 profit on a $280,000 sale. Okay. Yeah. That is fantastic. And it was about, I think Judy said from the time that they acquired it to the time it got sold was about 10 months.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. That guys, those are some really, really nice numbers. And yeah, I'm seeing notes here. Amazing. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And your project cost, again, you really covered well what it covers, but you had to pour concrete for the slabs. You had to pour piers. You had to grade the ground. You had to run some underground plumbing. You had to have an electrician hook up. You had to have a plumber do their thing. You had to have an HVAC guy install an air conditioner. That all had to be done correct. And with licensed contractors. So, those costs all add up to and the septic tank, which, I'm just curious there, Kevin, out of that 45, what did you think if you could have kept that septic tank and that would have been great on code, how much more did you have to spend that was part of that $45,000 budget?
So I will say I got a smoking deal on the septic. Okay. Install, labor and material, $6,800.
That's really good.
That's a smoking deal.
I dealt with one. Yeah. And what size capacity was it?
It's 1,000 gallons.
Okay, because I did one a little bit larger than that a few years ago, and it was about $11,000. So
yeah, it's roughly about 12 to 15,000. So I do want to point out, Scott, I know we're close on time, but so that $70,000 profit is split 3 ways between us, right? Now, Brandon, you see in the back, he's a leader in our community. He's an investor. He's successful. Judy is a leader in our community. I kind of bump around, do my best anyway. And the 3 of us come together and we say, hey, let's work together. We have a JV agreement. We're all equity partners. We brought our expertise that we have to the deal, but we're all understanding the investing piece of this, right? We understand the real estate piece of it. So no one's left out. And that's why this is powerful. And I'll tell you this, I'll take $23,000, $24,000 paycheck over 10 months. And I probably maybe put 60 to 70 hours into this total over that time frame, over my 8-month time frame. So
that's awesome. And we have a couple more questions. I have just time for one last question here, real quick here to wrap up. And that is, have you looked at, what the pro or con is of maybe buying something with a larger lot where you could put multiple manufactured homes? Have you ever thought about doing a larger park itself, or is that something that you've ever considered?
Yeah, Judy and I've talked to Brandon and we've all talked about what does it look like to do that. So there's a couple of different ways you can go. You can buy individual lots, break them up, and then sell them individually. You can build a mini park, put manufactured homes in, rent them out. So there's a couple of different ways to do it. I kind of like to sell the land. I'm a homeowner guy. I love people owning their houses. You just have to buy a big enough, lot of land, get it subdivided. There's a lot of work for, zoning and code you got to do for that. You can do it. It just, more zeros, right? Bigger checks, more zeros and time.
Absolutely. Well, Judy, Kevin, This has been a fantastic property tour. You guys, you've been so gracious to share an hour of your time. For everybody that's on today, thank you for taking an hour out of your Saturday, out of your Mother's Day weekend. I want to wish everybody on a happy Mother's Day. And if you can, if you have a mother in your family, hopefully you get to spend time with them. Like Judy, Brandon, who's not here, Kevin, this has been a great property tour. We love that you share this strategy. I've been doing these property tours for our community for right at 3 years now, and this is our very first one with a manufactured home. So thank you for sharing it, and thank you for taking the time out, guys. I hope everybody has a blessed weekend, and we'll hopefully see you guys on our next property tour, which is next Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern.
Thank you, Scott. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Judy.
Thank you. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.